The Pacific Ocean is a colossal, untamed abyss, spanning over 63 million square miles, larger than all the land on Earth combined. Its vastness swallows all sense of direction, leaving travelers thousands of miles from the nearest human soul. Scattered across its boundless waters are remote islands, some untouched for centuries. These specks of land, surrounded by endless blue, hold their own secrets. Jagged cliffs, impenetrable jungles, and caves steeped in eerie silence. Here, isolation is absolute, and survival means facing the unknown, where every shadow and every sound carries the weight of something unseen. For 8 agonizing days, 6 teenage boys drifted aimlessly in a broken fishing boat on the vast Pacific Ocean. Starvation gnawed at their bellies, thirst cracked their lips, and the relentless sun and icy nights pushed them to the edge. Just as hope seemed lost, they saw it. Land. A jagged volcanic island loomed on the horizon, wild and unwelcoming. But it promised salvation. They fought the waves to reach its shores, thinking they were finally saved. Yet this island was no sanctuary. It was the start of a far greater challenge, a battle for survival in a place as unpredictable as the ocean they had escaped. This incredible story began with a group of restless teenagers in Tonga, a chain of islands in the South Pacific. Among them was 16-year-old Mano Totau, a quiet and introspective boy with big dreams. Born on the small island of Ha'afeva, Mano often looked at the maps in his school books, wondering about the far-off lands beyond his home. To him, Tonga felt confining, just a tiny dot on the map. He yearned to explore, to break free. Mano wasn't alone. His friends, Sione, Kolo, David, Stephen, and Tavita, felt the same pull of adventure. They were dreamers, bonded by their shared curiosity about the world. Stories of Fiji, a larger and more vibrant island to the west, captivated them. Fiji wasn't just a place. It was the promise of excitement, freedom, and discovery. But life in Tonga was simple, and opportunities for travel were scarce. The boys knew they'd have to take matters into their own hands if they wanted to see the world. Determined to escape their small-town lives, the boys devised a bold plan. They would borrow a fishing boat and sail to Fiji. It wasn't exactly a well-thought-out plan. They had no sailing experience, no navigation tools, and only a vague idea of where Fiji even was. But they were teenagers, and their enthusiasm outweighed their caution. They prepared in secret, gathering bananas, coconuts, and water containers to sustain them. Their first attempt ended in failure when their families caught wind of the plan and stopped them. But the boys were undeterred. A week later, under the cover of night, they snuck to the shore, hearts pounding. The fishing boat, a small vessel belonging to a local fisherman, was waiting. By the time anyone realized what had happened, they were already out to sea. The initial hours of their journey were thrilling. The boys hoisted the sail, feeling the wind carry them into the open ocean. They laughed, joked, and imagined their new lives in Fiji. For a brief moment, they felt unstoppable, but the ocean is not forgiving. By midnight, the wind picked up, and waves began crashing against the boat. The boys struggled to maintain control. In their inexperience, they failed to lower the sail as the storm grew stronger. The wind tore through the canvas, leaving them adrift, rudderless and hopelessly lost. For 8 days, the boys fought to survive. They rationed water, collected rain when they could, and subsisted on scraps of food. Hunger turned their stomachs into knots, and their lips cracked from dehydration. At one point, a massive wave threw Mano overboard. He spent hours battling the current before his friends managed to pull him back aboard. Exhausted, he collapsed, unsure if he would survive another day. Still, the boys refused to give up. They prayed together and shared stories to keep hope alive. Then on the morning of the 8th day, they spotted land. Reaching Outa Island was a triumph, but their ordeal was far from over. Weak and dehydrated, they staggered onto a rocky beach. Ada was no tropical paradise. It was rugged and hostile, with jagged cliffs and dense jungle. Too weak to explore, the boys scoured the shoreline for food. They raided seabird nests, gulping down raw eggs and drinking bird blood to survive. It was a gruesome but life-saving necessity. Over time, their resilience began to return. With newfound energy, they climbed the cliffs to the island's plateau, a 2-day journey of scraping and scrambling up sharp rocks. What they found there changed everything. The plateau held remnants of an old Tongan settlement, an abandoned clay pot, a rusty machete, and wild chickens. The community that once lived there had been tragically kidnapped into slavery decades earlier. These forgotten resources became the boys' lifeline. The machete helped them clear paths and gather wood. The clay pot allowed them to boil water and cook food. The chickens provided eggs and meat. These discoveries gave the boys the tools to create a sustainable life. They built shelters from coconut leaves, constructed fishing lines, and divided responsibilities to maintain order. Each day was a test of their ingenuity and determination. Despite their resourcefulness, life on Ada was grueling. One boy suffered severe burns from boiling water. Another was injured while climbing the cliffs and was immobile for weeks. The others cared for their friends, ensuring they had food and water. Loneliness and isolation also took their toll, but the boys drew strength from their shared faith and unity. Every night they prayed together, keeping hope alive. Back in Tonga, their families were heartbroken. For months they prayed and searched for their missing sons. But as time passed, hope faded. Believing the boys had been lost to the ocean, their families held funerals to mourn their absence. Yet unknown to anyone, the 6 boys were alive, fighting for survival on Ada Island. In 1966, Peter Warner, a seasoned sailor and son of a wealthy Australian businessman, was exploring Tongan waters to establish a lobster fishing business. Cruising near Ada Island, Peter noticed a blackened patch on the hilltop, an unusual sight for an uninhabited island. Intrigued, he steered his yacht closer. To his astonishment, he saw figures waving from the cliffs. Initially, he thought they might be shipwrecked sailors. When Stephen swam out to the boat and recounted their story, Peter was stunned. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he rescued all 6 boys, bringing them aboard his yacht. They laughed and cried, overwhelmed by the realization that they were finally going home. The boys' return to Tonga was met with tears of joy. Their families embraced them, weeping with relief. The entire island celebrated their resilience and the miracle of their survival. But their homecoming wasn't without complications. The fishing boat they had stolen remained a legal issue, and the boys were briefly jailed. Peter intervened, negotiating with the boat owner. He paid for a replacement boat and secured the boys' release in exchange for their help on a documentary about their survival. Together, they returned to Ada Island to recreate their journey. However, the film crew struggled with the harsh conditions, and the project was eventually abandoned. Despite the film's failure, Peter became a national hero in Tonga. The king invited him to an audience, offering to repay him for his heroic act. Instead of wealth or titles, Peter requested permission to fish for lobster in Tongan waters. The king agreed, granting Peter exclusive fishing rights. Peter quit his family's business and started a lobster company in Tonga. He hired the 6 boys, giving them a chance to fulfill their dream of adventure on the sea. Under Peter's mentorship, they became skilled fishermen, turning their harrowing ordeal into a foundation for their futures. Peter Warner's bold decisions not only saved 6 young men, but also changed their lives forever. His story, intertwined with theirs, is a testament to resilience, unity, and the power of second chances. Together, they turned a tale of survival into one of triumph and hope, proving that, even in the darkest moments, the human spirit can endure and overcome.